explain the project. The essential question.
What mic?
So what I asked myself at the beginning of the semester was, can I create live music that uses elements of electronic and acoustic music? So that's what I've been working on this whole year, kind of this idea of sort of fusing the worlds of electronics and acoustic music, both in actually having like live drums and synthesizers, as well as sort of trying to blend the styles. So maybe like a jazz chord progression with more of a hip hop beat over it, things like that. So first we have to ask ourselves, what is electronic? Its most simple definition, it's music performed using synthesizers and other electronic instruments. So when you think of electronic music, you think like crazy dubstep and like Skrillex, all kinds of like raves and stuff. And that is electronic music, but that's only one part of it. I think it's important to recognize that there's sort of a stigma around it, but really what it is it's just instruments that allow you to have more freedom because you can control them more. So what have I been doing for this semester? Most of what I've been doing has been music. Places I spend a lot of time are in my basement with the group of people that I have with me, and at a place called Absolute Music in Geneva. It's a studio that I spend a lot of time at and got a lot of lessons from. So part of this project was not only, when I started, I didn't know much about electronic music or how to play piano or a lot of things like that. And it was to see, I think the thing that I really grew in most was being able to like communicate and express the ideas I have in my head musically, and be able to put them out into the world and put them out in a medium that I can play with other people. So I'll get into my process. I had to learn a lot of hardware for this project. There's the Novation circuit, which I have right here. The M-Audio keyboard that I have right here. Launchpad Mini. Focusrite audio interface. Speaker system, and people. I'll explain them a little bit. The circuit was really, it was kind of the first thing I ever got. I got it for, I think, Christmas. Yeah. So what it is it's called a groove box. So it's a drum machine, and then also 2 synthesizers. So what this really allowed me to do was kind of just have a bank of sounds at my disposal that I can mess with and that I can use, and it's been my favorite piece of technology that I've learned, and it is absolutely amazing. Second, this is a MIDI keyboard. The difference between a regular keyboard like that and a MIDI keyboard is that this only emits a MIDI signal. Now what MIDI is I call it note data. It's just data that, so if I press C, it's not going to play anything. No sound's going to be made in this, but it's going to tell the computer that I'm playing the C. And that's sort of the basis of electronic instruments versus acoustic instruments. They don't create their own sound. A lot of the controllers are just used to create sound in other places. The software I had to learn was Photoshop and iMovie, mostly for promoting this. Massive and other plugins. So what a plugin is in a program, like in a music making program, they have their own software, but then you can buy additional software to add to it, so you can have extra sounds or functions, and they've been really helpful in just sort of getting the sound that I want, you know? Hook Theory was huge. This was just about how I learned music theory. It's a program online, and what it allows you to do is look up pretty much any song and see the chords and the progressions and the ways they move. So it helped a lot with learning the chords and also with teaching constructing songs so I can figure out if I want this kind of feel, I'm going to have these kind of chords. Again, the circuit, it is hardware, but it does have its own software, so I had to kind of learn how to navigate that. And the most important one, Ableton Live. This is what I use for all of this. It is the heart of this project. So, what is Ableton? This is Ableton. It looks really confusing, but I'm going to break it down a little bit. This is what's called a track. Now this little bit is called a clip. Clip. That's the play button on the clip and the name of the clip. Now what a clip can be is just some MIDI signal. So the clip tells you, the clip will tell, it's a little bit of data that will tell the computer what to play. And you can have a lot of them. So you can choose which one you want to play. Now, what do you do with the clips? It's played by an instrument. Now this is not a regular instrument, this is an instrument that you choose for any one of the tracks. So that's the stop button. So what this instrument will do is it will take the data from the clip, run it through the instrument, and use that to turn it into sound. So next, this is what I call the processor. So if you have something like the circuit, it'll send data into the track, into the computer here, and then the instrument will turn it into sound, but most importantly, you can use this to decide where the sound is and what to do with it. Now here's just volume control. You've got a volume slider, louder, softer, you've got an on-off, you've got a solo if you just want to listen to that track, and a record button if you want to record into it. So all of this is a track. Now what Ableton is essentially just a lot of tracks, just a lot of ways to keep track of the things, the musical clips that you have, and play them in certain orders, and mess with them. So it's really more of an organization tool than strictly a musical tool. This, of course, is the master track that controls all the other tracks. It's just kind of a necessity. So this picture looks a lot less confusing now, I hope. This brings me into Tree Frogs, our kind of dumb group name. This is one of our rehearsals. Our rehearsals are usually pretty long, so you know I edited it down a little bit. Okay.
Hey. Any sound?
That's how a typical rehearsal went. This was kind of my setup in the group. It's pretty much the same I had here, but the best thing about this setup is that it's really portable. So when I wasn't out in my basement playing the band, like this, I could just put it all in my storage closet and make like a little studio. And then if I wanted to just bring it all to school, I could do that and set it up just on the piano. So that's what's great about this. It's really portable and really easy to move and set up somewhere else. Which was great because every week I would go to Absolute Music. It's a studio in Geneva, Illinois, not Wisconsin, so it's only about an hour away. But you'll see, that's a long way to drive. But it was worth it because what this place was it was not only a studio, but it was a music learning place. So mostly kids would come in to get music production lessons, but the teachers were really high quality, and I was able, because I was older than most of the people there and doing more of a defined thing, I kind of was able to talk to them more like peers and get a lot of really good information from them. So I took lessons there, and then also outside of that, I was just able to use all the resources they had there. So they had like computer labs, I could use the computers. They had like a bunch of records. They had practice rooms. They had a recording studio. They even had like a media room. But this place is this is a great space where I could learn new things and experiment new things with technologies that I didn't have. It was super useful for all of my projects. So the music theory piece of this, I didn't really know piano before this. I can't really play now, but I can play it well enough, and that is because I would take notes. I would take a lot of notes about everything, and then I would just practice. So if you see, these are some examples of the notes I took in the lessons and outside of things, learning things from videos online. I spent a lot of time writing about the things I wanted to make and watching things that I wanted to emulate. So, I mean, it's a lot of words, but. So, I'll go into the service that I did real quick. I did it at Lincolnwood and Three Crowns, completely unrelated to the project. That's because it was kind of hard to find service for me. So Lincolnwood's great. It's an elementary school, if you didn't know. This is me with the little kids and the teacher. And this is a picture of Three Crowns. It's a retirement home. And a lot of the things I spent there was actually playing crosswords and helping people with their iPads. So that was surprisingly fun. So I'll get into the music real quick. If you guys want to like come up and start setting up the live stuff. So we're not going to play it quite yet. I want to show you just a few of the things I've made over the course of the semester, because outside of all of this, I just spent a lot of time making a lot of music. So this is the first song I ever made. It's called Dill. Just play a minute or two of it. That's not working. So it's all right. It's the first thing I ever made. Next this was the first time we ever got together as a group. It's a little bit rough. It's just kind of a lot of it's kind of crappy, so I don't have very much of that. This is another song I made with that guy, Sammy. It's called Sun Salute. Play a little bit of this. Sorry if you can't hear it.
Can we?
With the mic by it? No.
So that's a little better than my first one on my own. This is us again. This is the group. A little bit of progress. This one had more of a structure, but it is 12 minutes long. Skip a little bit ahead.
Buffering.
Okay, well, that's loading up. So this was another one I made with Sammy. He was a big help. So this one, all right, I was kind of getting more used to the technology. I was able to integrate, he plays guitar, and I was able to integrate the live guitar a lot better. These will all be, I'm sorry, it's the Wi-Fi is really slow. And this is the final recording we ever made. This was just made a few days ago. All right.
Close the windows.
What'd you say?
Close the windows.
Not really how it doesn't matter.
All right. So
There you go.
from the few seconds of that, see that we sound less crappy.
What about what it sounded like at first?
Yeah, pretty much. So, now we're gonna play some live music. I'm gonna do the whole thing on my own first, and then these guys are gonna come in and play the big thing we've been working on also.
Everyone got the memo to bring earplugs, right? I'm just a kid.
Joey, don't. Now, the reason you came.
Oh, we can't.
No way.